I actually think that it's a little bit of a call on my life that God has always meant for me to remind our faith friends, our non-faith friends, all the people who are willing to listen, that fun is still a really important discipline to be included in our grown-up lives. It was real easy when we were 7. It's a little bit different now.
Annie F. Downs, what a joy it is to share this time with you. You have inspired so many of us for so many years that I just consider this a real blessing to be able to spend this time with you. What an encourager you are.
Sally, thanks for having me on, you guys. I'm so excited to be here. Y'all know I'm not a morning show person. I just am not bored for the early mornings, but I am with you. I am very here for this.
Well, I feel it. I feel it. You know, I'm holding in front of me a book that has already impacted my life. And I believe my friends here too, Mike Kinkle-Fritz and Misty Jordan and me make up the morning show here for Family Life Radio. And you wrote this book that, I mean, who can resist? It's called That Sounds Fun.
That was our hope. That was our hope, that people would say, who can resist this?
Yeah. So where does this book come from?
Well, you know, the truth is, I probably, my whole life, I've thought about fun and talked about fun a lot. What ended up happening is, as we got to be adults, everyone else stopped and I didn't. And I was like, and honestly, I used to think I was a little bit like Peter Pan. Like, I kind of thought, am I not growing up and everyone else is? Is there something wrong with me that I still want to talk about fun? And the reality is, I actually think that it's a little bit of a call on my life that God has always meant for me to remind our faith friends, our non-faith friends, all the people who are willing to listen, that fun is still a really important discipline to be included in our grown-up lives. It was real easy when we were 7. It's a little bit different now.
You know, I love that because we all use that term adulting. And so you put that whole term in kind of like almost the naughty zone. Like, right. why are we doing that? You know, why are we so proud of doing that? The subtitle of your book, The Joys of Being an Amateur, The Power of Falling in Love, and Why You Need a Hobby.
Yes.
So perfect.
I mean, I'm okay with people feeling like being an adult is a good idea. I am supportive of being an adult. I am very pro yes and. So yes, you should be a grown-up and be responsible and treat other people's hearts and minds with respect and honor also. And can we remember that fun is a really important thing?
Amen.
And that fun actually, here's the reality of it. Fun breeds connection and fun breeds intimacy. When you're on a roller coaster with someone, I mean, when's the last time y'all went on a first date on a roller coaster? It's not great. It's not great. Because you can't control what you say and you're screaming and you're laughing. And it's actually because there is a level of intimacy and fun that we've forgotten about. And so can we do both? Can we be really grown up and handle the world well and make sure we're treating our neighbors with love? And can we make space for fun again?
Amen. Where do you think we lose our fun? How come this happens? What goes down?
Yeah, I mean, you probably remember, I would venture to say the fun part about talking about fun is I get to talk to a lot of people about fun. And so I hear these stories a lot, which is kind of what got me into writing the book. Because I went like, oh, there's a bigger story here than just people who've quit having fun. And y'all can probably remember, like I can remember some really distinct memories in your childhood or your young adulthood that kind of said, hey, turn that faucet off because the sink can't handle everything else and it will overflow if you keep having fun too.
Right.
And the thing you can't turn off is the trauma. And the thing you can't turn off is the responsibility. And the thing you can't turn off is the pressure. But the thing you can turn off is the fun. And I actually disagree with that and as an idea. I don't think you should. But I think that's what happened to all of us is I went to college and realized that there were some things I had to pursue and get serious about. And I thought the only way you get serious about growing up is to give up fun. And I think there's a better way. I think there's a better way.
I like
That's
it.
good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love the way that you position it, which it's like, I read it and I was like, it's common sense and such a unique way to say it at the same time. Is it fun is a gateway to joy? That's like the neatest sentence ever.
Oh, it is.
Fun is the
Really
gateway
is.
to joy.
Thanks, Misty. I mean, it really is true, because in the church world, you've heard a pastor do this 10 times if you've heard it once, where they get up and they go, don't try to be happy. Don't try to be fun. Go for joy. And they've turned, a lot of people, not all of us, have turned joy into like this very serious, lovely thing that we're supposed to have. And like, no matter what you feel, joy is in your heart kind of thing, right? And I like to think of joy as like, it's the car going down the highway, but you've still got to turn over the key.
Right.
Right. And to me, a lot of times, or let's talk about our pandemic lives of everyone baking bread. If you want to eat bread, you've got to make the dough, and then you have to turn the oven on. So there has got to be something that activates the thing that you need. And I think the way we activate joy, that really is deeply important. I mean, it is a fruit of the Spirit. It should be a part of who we are. I think we activate joy by going out and having fun. And then suddenly you're laughing with your people, and suddenly the thing that was hard isn't so hard anymore. And suddenly there's bigger purpose and there's deeper intimacy. And so you've turned the oven on, you've turned the car over, you've done the thing you need to do to start advancing toward joy. I think fun is that gateway.
I like that.
I do too.
Yeah. We've made joy not joyful.
I know.
I mean,
Fun is the gateway to joy.
Yeah, I mean, is that a little out of bounds? Y'all can disagree with me. We've been friends long enough. I'll be like, no, Andy, that's not true. But sometimes when I hear people preach about joy, it's like it's like a brick that they want us to tie onto our backs. Like, you should always have this. And I'm like, well, I've got 94 other bricks. Why are you giving me one that's supposed to be fun?
Sure.
And I think there's a different way to look at joy. And if we use fun to get us there, I think it's a better way.
I love that. I was thinking about actually, because this is kind of like all settling in. A few years ago, I struggled with some mental health issues, and I had a problem with some medication. So I had to go into the hospital for a week, and checking into the psych ward is not an enjoyable experience. But I remember my husband and I were sitting there, and I started joking around. We started making up stories for the staff, like, oh, he's a secret emu farmer on the side. Like just coming up with and so before you know it, like here I am checking into the psych ward, laughing my head off, and something about that unlocked a joy that stayed with me for the rest of my time there.
That's exactly right. That is what happens. And the beautiful thing is, well, for starters, I know you've told the story before, but it's so brave, because every time you say out loud that is something that you experience, somebody hears it that has never heard it before, and they get to say me too, and they feel like they have a friend. So well done to you.
Oh, thank you.
Brave like that. It's beautiful. But also the thing you're modeling for us is that by choosing fun and telling these funny stories, you weren't negating the real pain you were in. You didn't say, and so everything was fine, and so we didn't even stay. We got back in the car and went to Taco Bell, and everything was fine, right? And so I think that is a trick for us to hear from you. Like, I feel like we're getting some tools. I'm getting some tools from you in this, of going like, yeah, I can be sitting in a really painful moment, and to choose a little bit of fun, to laugh a little bit, does not say to myself or anyone else, this moment no longer matters. It says I can be both things. I can be both things. I can be laughing, and I mean, even the scripture says, even in laughter, the heart may ache.
Amen.
Right? Like God said to us, you're going to be able to do both of those things. And you can do them at the same time. And so that's, Misty, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
For some of us, and I'll just speak to myself, that's sometimes how I deal with something difficult, is naturally comes out of me levity. And so some people don't quite know how to deal with that. Wait a second. Right. You just, like, for example, when I was in high school, got in this horrible car accident, and people are like, why is he joking around over there? What? And I think it was a self-defense mechanism. Just the way I processed things was through humor.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I imagine, I've known you our friendship's been about this old, and I believe that you made jokes. I absolutely believe that you made jokes in the middle of a car wreck. And there are times where that is the right coping mechanism, right? And there will be people who are sitting near you who don't connect with that. Okay.
Right.
Okay. That isn't, not everyone is going to think what I think is fun is fun. Something we say around here a lot on the That Sounds Fun podcast, through the book, when I'm out on tour, is like, don't judge your fun. You don't have to say things like, well, that might not be fun to you, but blah, blah, blah. You know, like,
Wow.
no, don't judge your fun. If it is fun to you, then embrace it. That's great. I mean, it's the core lesson is God made you on purpose.
Wow.
I love, you know, this from the book, Sally, I love to cross stitch. It is not like my leading attribute on dating apps, right? Like, it's not the sexiest thing about me, right? It's cross stitch. But it brings me joy. And so where I can hear shame voices say, that's what a grandmother does, you're not cool. My grandmothers were very cool. And all my friends who are grandmothers are cool. So that's a lie anyway. But this narrative that could happen in my head of like, hey, if you like what you like, you're not going to get what you want is from the enemy, right? And so you go like, no, what's fun to you? If you laugh in those moments, God made you like that on purpose. So run hard after that with the boundaries of maturity and community and God and relationship, and like go hard after that. And then watch as the world responds really beautifully to you being genuine to yourself.
Love that. And isn't that like the biggest struggle? Well, for me, to be genuine about myself and not apologize for who I am, because I feel like that's what I want to do throughout my days. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And, you know, even in being so sorry, people are sorry that you're so sorry. And, you know, it's a no-win situation. And I'm kind of fascinated about a theme you run through That Sounds Fun, your book. It's that we've lost Eden. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. There is a freedom with grandparents and grandchildren where the grandchildren are just adored. They're just adored. And I see it in my own parents who, with my nephew, I mean, he is their favorite and he's 18 months old. I'm like, I've been here 41 years. Do y'all even remember me? He's 18 months old. But what it is, the reason that's important when we're talking about Eden is that scripture says that eternity is set in our hearts. And I think the thing we are all longing for is a place we have never been. And this deeper, you know, the reason it all goes back to our grandparents and our childhood is there was a simplicity that we do not have anymore. And there was an innocence that we do not have anymore, not because of anything we've done, more because of what's been done to us, or just the fact that we lived this long. We've lived long enough. We know too much. We just know too much about humans and about the earth, whether you're 18 or 88, you know too much. You know too much now. And Eden, it's set in our hearts. The purity of Eden, we miss a place we've never been. And we're longing for a place we've never been. And so we're just going to feel that while we're here. We're going to miss Eden while we're here.
Wow.
Well, you know what strikes me as well? What is it that ruined the Garden of Eden? And that was eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And you just said it, you know too much. You know too much about what's right, what's wrong, and that's created this boundary for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where before
I thought
that,
you were
we
going to
didn't
say it was eating healthy. And I was like, you're right. Nailed it. What ruined everything was eating fruits.
Donuts don't do you wrong like that, man.
Right? Donuts would never have done that to us. So that's what I have to say about that.
Well, maybe that really wasn't an apple tree, it was a donut tree. And that's where we got.
And that's where the curse began.
Oh, I want that.
This new theology, I'm interested in this theological line we're going on. I love it.
Absolutely.
That's funny. Wow.
You know, so there is something that you talked about that I thought was interesting. And it made me think of, you know, when I go on vacation or something and it's kind of like a staycation, or I just go to visit my family, we don't do much. And people are like, oh, did you have fun on vacation? I'm like, yeah, it was fun. I rested. And you say there's like a difference. So often we equate those two things together, but there's a difference. And I was hoping you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, the difference between like vacation and resting. Yeah. I mean, part of it is we have, and this may be American, this may be 21st century, this may be a privileged point of view, I don't know, but I know it's one that me and my friends talk about a lot. And a lot of my friends who've read the book relate with this like you did, Misty. But it's the idea that like we tell ourselves, if I can just get to that beach trip in June, if I can just get to that Disney trip, if I can just get to the weekend, and so we live to this vacation. And instead of letting rest and fun be an active rhythm in the lives that we have. And so instead we're going, and so what that ends up doing is if you've got 2 weeks off in the summer, of course it's going to be more restful than a normal work week. Of course it is. But if we bank everything on what those 2 weeks are going to be like, the expectation is the trip will never live up to it. Trips never do. Trips never live up to our expectations. The more tired you are going into the trip, the less it will live up to your expectations, because you're asking that trip to be a year worth of Sabbath in 7 days.
Ooh, wow.
And we were meant to do that. We're meant to do it every week. We're meant to rest every single week so that when we get to an extended rest, we are overflowing. We are, let's read more books. Let's play more outside. Let's do more. Let's take a nap and let's eat dinner. And, we are coming from a place of, I'm glad for more days off, but I did not get here on below empty, expecting this week to recover me from a year and to fill me up to do a year.
That's
and
good.
So inviting rest and fun. In fact, I say to people all the time that we should have a day off. You should. I don't like to should people. It's not nice. Let me say it again. I would invite all of our friends to take a day every week and get off the internet, get off your devices, and kind of have a quieter day. Have a day during the week that's quieter, and then also put 30 minutes of fun on your calendar sometime during the week.
Ooh, I like that.
30 minutes of fun. Oh, it is a weird practice, because you know what happens? Suddenly you panic, because you're like, what are we going to do from 2 to 2:30 on Saturday?
Oh, no.
What is fun for me? What is fun for our family? What's fun for me and my partner? What's fun for me as a single person? And then your brain starts thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I know what I think is fun. And I'm not exhausted because I'm resting. So I can actually do the thing. So Misty, that's kind of how I draw the line, is like, if I'm expecting a vacation to rescue me, I probably am not resting enough the other 50 weeks of the year, 51 weeks of the year.
I don't feel bad about sleeping all day Saturday now.
No, you're doing the Lord's work, my friend.
Yes.
I like that.
Tell Jason that. I'm doing God's work here.
That is funny.
Annie, I read a portion of your book that I shouldn't have as I was on my drive to see my son, who is a canine officer.
Oh, yeah, about my little dog.
To bring up Helen.
Yes.
But at the close of the story, and I want you to tell the story, you said there is Eden even in loss. And just that little short sentence spoke so loudly on so many. Oh, I'm all choked up again. What a storyteller you are. And bring us back to the truth of God's word at the same time. Tell us a little bit about Helen, and I'm sorry if I cry when you tell it.
Oh, you're very kind. I mean, the simple story is I got a dog. I dreamed of getting a dog. I'm not married yet. I don't have kids yet. And I kind of thought, like, here is a way for me to be in family in some ways, right? Like, so many people feel their pets, their dogs or their cats or their emus, whatever, that they are a real, like, part of the family. And I got a dog that was hypoallergenic and everything. And 5 days in, I was allergic.
Wow.
And so it's a great next story for what we were just talking about, Sally, because again, it was, my expectations were, this animal is going to make me feel make me feel less empty in places. And here's a week of experiencing that. And then she's gone again and for good. Cause I'm allergic,
tough.
right?
Yeah.
It was, you can't imagine. I was an absolute disaster for the whole, and it's a puppy. So I'm not sleeping.
Right.
So I'm not sleeping. My face, all my skin is itchy. I sent her to, I only had her for 5 nights and she had one spend the night party. Cause I was like, can someone else take her for one night? Cause I have to make this big decision. Cause the doctor kind of said, you have 2 options. You can keep the dog, but you're going to have to be on these 2 medications for the rest of your life.
Oh, wow.
Boy.
And I was like, well, that doesn't feel like a life-giving solution for my body.
Yeah.
Right. So, or let the dog be rehomed to another family. And Helen has a way better life wherever she is. I mean, the family is like they told me the family has like a farm and she's out running and so better than my condo. But the thing I learned is, man, there is something when you let yourself feel loss and disappointment, it also takes you back to that initial, like, oh, this was put in my heart from the beginning to love and to be loved.
Yes.
And that's how you understand those things so profoundly, I have found. And so I was glad to get to write about her. I haven't shown a picture of her on the internet. I like, it still feels too deeply to me to like, look, here's Helen, you know, you're just like,
Totally
no, I have
understand.
like 2 pictures. And she was a cute little dog though.
Wow.
I hope she's so happy running in a field.
You said something that really was interesting to me. And you said that we connect fun more with places than people.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Describe that, and why is that? Why do we do that?
I think that's true for a lot of us. I think there are some people who are very people driven,
right,
and would say that, but all of our memories with people happen somewhere.
True. They're in a spot.
Right?
They're in a place.
They're in a spot. They're in a place. It was true for me. 24 hours ago, I was in New York and I was sitting at the foot of the Flatiron building that like matters really deeply to me. I've had some really profound experiences just being at the foot of it in conversation. And I flew up on Saturday. I sat there and just processed some things that I'm working through at a place that mattered to me. Because when I was there, and y'all know this too in your lives, all of our friends listening can think of it, but there are places we go to and we go, I mean, it's in scripture, it's Ebenezer stones, right? Of building these altars that we go back to. It's why going to church matters, because you're going into a place. I know, here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door, we're the people. I know, the church is the people. I'm not saying the church isn't the people, but the reason the buildings matter is every Sunday-ish, you go back in there, and you pray these things and you see God do these things and you learn a new song, and it builds up this memory bank of what happened there. Right. And so many people, I talked about it yesterday on Instagram, and so many people responded to me saying things like, because I said, what's your place? So many people said, my church from childhood.
Wow.
The church I grew up in, because you have all these memories.
Sure.
So I think that's it. I think it's that the people, I can have memories in a place, whether there are people there or not. Right. I can have connection with God in a place, and if there are other people there, then they're in that memory too. But for me, I think back of, my college ministry and a counseling center I went to here in Nashville called Onsite Workshops is one for me. There's a like a retreat center that my friends own in Scotland that I went to. And I think I wrote about it in Remember God, the book before that. Sounds fun. And so I have a couple of those places that just go like, oh yeah, this is me getting a peek at Eden. I'm getting a peek. I'm getting a taste. I'm getting a little bit of what the fullness will be.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
That's really cool.
Well, you've got a conference coming up in our listening area. What can we expect?
Coming to you.
Woo!
Listen, let's talk about making memories together in a place. I hope y'all are coming. Listen, if y'all want to come, I'll give you tickets. The 3 of y'all. I'd love for you to be there. So we take the That Sounds Fun podcast on tour.
Oh, wow.
And
That's so cool.
It is, y'all, I need you to know that we did it for the first time last June. We didn't know if this thing was going to work. Nobody does this. It's like a variety show. There's a comedian, there's a live podcast, a different guest in every city. And so in Mesa, we're going to have Dustin Nickerson, a comedian.
Okay.
So we have a stand-up guy who will do a set at the beginning, and then Dustin is our interview. So the night is just going to be hilarious. But I walked off stage the first night last June, and I grabbed my manager by the shoulders. I said, we've never done anything better than this. I was like, this is the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. And so it's just such a good night. We're so excited to be coming. And I think I haven't gotten to be in Arizona in a while. I've done some things at churches there, but I haven't gotten to be there in a while. So I'm really excited. I think we're there on Monday, March 7th.
March 7th.
So,
good time to be in Phoenix. Yeah.
That's right. I mean, who else has something fun to do on a Monday night? I got you. If you were wondering about what you were going to do on a Monday, let's go. We're going to do it. That's
awesome.
Making Mondays great again.
That's right.
That's it. That's me.
Making Mondays. So wait a second. Is that still MAGA?
Not going to touch
Not really. It's not really. No. It doesn't really work that way. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Well, I can't resist before we go turning the tables on you. What sounds fun?
You're so kind for asking. I ask people multiple times a day, and anytime someone asks me, it really does good for my heart. So thank you for asking. Y'all are so fun to be with. So when I reflect on my day, I will reflect on this as something that was really fun today.
Oh, what a good answer.
It's true. It's
We
true.
love you.
Tonight, I feel like this is a little bit like a CrossFit. Like if you don't tell people you do CrossFit, do you really do CrossFit? But I just got a Peloton treadmill. Did y'all know there's a treadmill?
Yep.
I saw it advertised.
It's awesome. And there is a girl named Chelsea who does like gospel-centered yoga classes. So it's like it's pretty much stretching and movement to gospel music. So that sounds fun to me tonight. Is me, my girl Chelsea on my screen. It's gonna get a little sweaty, thinking about God.
Yes.
I can't wait. So
Yes.
that's my evening today.
So sweating the gospel with,
Sweating the Gospels.
With Annie down.
Man.
you know, you need,
Yeah, that's right.
it's like step aside, Richard Simmons. We got,
That's right. Here comes Annie. Sweating to the Gospels with Annie up down. Man,
Please tell me you're going to be in day glow leotards.
the only way. It's the only way to do it. So,
no,
yes,
she's going to wear the
yes.
Richard Simmons candy striper shorts. That's
Yeah.
what-
And the
Oh,
shorts.
my goodness.
The vision. Can't go for it.
It's gonna be both.
sometimes.
It's gonna be both. It's gotta be both. It's gotta be. I'll just change the colors. We'll get some people designing some things. We'll have outfits before you know it.
Pictures or it didn't
Oh,
happen.
so
That's
funny.
right.
That's right.
Can't
That's
go
right.
for it's what sounds fun.
Oh, you want to ask me what sounds
I was
fun?
about to say, I'm really curious to
Oh.
see if it leads back. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see, if
I
it.
think heading down to Dairy Queen right now, having a little Sunday sounds fun to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a
That
great
does
answer.
sound fun.
Yeah.
I like ice cream at any time. What about you, Misty?
If I wasn't scared of the ocean, going surfing sounds so fun.
Oh, that would
Okay,
be
but okay, that's really interesting. Do we have time for me to ask you about that?
Sure.
Because you're afraid of the ocean.
I'm afraid
but
of sharks.
Surfing,
Yeah.
why?
Sharks?
Have you? I mean, do you have an experience or
No.
just a?
I've just heard they eat people and I saw Jaws.
So my deeper question, if we were getting coffee or if we were eating dinner, is the next thing we would talk about is how many places in your life are you really drawn to something that you're afraid of? Because I wonder if that matters. I wonder if that's something
That's
to
an
pay
interesting
attention
thought.
to.
Ah,
So,
actually, yeah.
are you saying that fun could include fear? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think
Like you're-
the trick about fear is it never shuts up.
Well, true.
It's always going to talk to you. You just get to decide whether you listen to it or not, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
brave people in my life aren't the ones who don't hear fear. They're the ones who hear the whispers of fear and do the thing anyway, right?
Right.
I'm saying all this, Missy. I also don't get in the ocean. So just to be clear,
I'm in
we're
Arizona,
both
so.
landlocked. We're landlocked. I'm in Tennessee. We're
I'm
not
off the
going
hook.
anywhere. That's right. We're not going anywhere. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times you will see that the thing you think is fun, the thing you wish you were doing, there is a fear attached to it
Yeah.
because otherwise it wouldn't matter to you.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
You know, that is interesting because what sounds fun to me
Yes,
is to
go,
go
Sally.
out on a warm day like today, get on my bike and go really fast downhill.
That involves
Really?
fear.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it tells
Oh,
me,
yeah.
I'll tell you the other little dissection I'll do. So my dissection for your Dairy Queen is it feels like a childhood thing, like a simplicity thing, like you
Yep.
love moments. And Sally, my thoughts on you with biking downhill fast is if we were eating dinner, I would say, are there places in your life where you feel like you're not free?
Mm.
Because it
Oh.
sounds like you want some freedom
Her
and you
face
need
said
some
it
like,
all.
you need some speed and you need something that makes
Wow.
you feel like you don't have to be in control.
Mm.
And so that's what I would ask you if we were eating dinner. I won't do that to
Okay.
you now. Just if we were eating dinner,
Wow.
that would be my next question.
Wow. This is real introspective.
It
But-
is.
So I
That's
have
what
to
fun does, you guys.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it was interesting because I was thinking in the back of my head, you said it leads back to like childhood memories and
Yeah.
grandmas and grandpas.
Right.
Well, the whole thing with surfing is when I was a kid, I ran across Gidget reruns while my grandma was watching me, and it was like my hour to watch TV, and I became fascinated with surfing.
It always goes back.
It
always-
does.
Wow.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That is-
It's wild.
Did you
Wow.
go get ice cream with your grandparents?
Well, you know what? One of my fondest, and it does have to do with grandparents. One of my fondest memories would be something, and this would happen very often when me and my sister would be with my grandma. And we're probably younger on the the elementary school age. I don't know, maybe 10, maybe a little bit younger. And I would say, "Grandma, I'm hungry," and she would go, "Well, what does your tummy want?" And I would say cookies, ice cream, candy, and she would haul it all out.
Oh. I want to go to your
What a
grandma's house.
great grandma.
I know.
My grandma's awesome.
Yeah.
I have 6 grandkids.
And that's
so
why I was a
can say
chubby
it.
kid growing up.
Yeah. But well loved.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, get one on behalf of the other. We'll take them both.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
awesome.
funny.
Yep.
That's awesome. Sally, I bet you're a great grandmother.
I try to be.
That's awesome.
I try to be, but I've learned a lot from you about being a great grandmother, so thank you.
I mean, I love to be fairy godmothers to as many of my little mini BFFs as will let me.
Wait a
So,
second.
I love it.
You're a great grandma.
I'm not a grandmother, no.
Okay, Kinkle Fritz.
So young. for that.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, you just absolved yourself. Annie, every day at 3 o'clock. This happens.
Yeah, I believe it.
You're getting
I believe
this
it.
on
Y'all
the
been
tail
awake
end
a
of
long
sanity,
time.
is what's happening.
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you so
Oh,
much,
what
Annie.
joy.
Appreciate you. This has been
Y'all,
good.
thanks for having
Yeah.
me. This is really fun. And I really mean it. If y'all want to come to the show, just tell us. I would love to give all 3 of y'all 2 tickets. If y'all
Oh,
like to
thank
come.
you. Thank
If
you.
you
We
need
want
more
to be
than
there.
that. If you need more than that.
Do we get to come backstage?
COVID life says no because we have to bubble backstage, but
Yep.
you can come to the VIP and we can hug there.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Annie. Appreciate
Thank
your
you guys. I
time.
appreciate it. Thanks
That's-
for having me.
Thank you, Annie. See you in March.
Enjoyed it.
Have fun.
Yes. See y'all soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.